It's just what you want when you're a boy. It's just Superman. That's what I'm going to be when I grow up. Leap tall buildings. It had nothing to do with anything. If you live today and you know about superheroes, then it doesn't seem strange to you. But if you live then, that would seem the strangest thing in the world, to wear a costume and to fly around and to do this. Doesn't make any sense. And yet they did it. And they sold 1 million copies.
Somebody bought me 2 copies, and I kept one in a wax paper bag to keep it clean, and I was very much ahead of my time. And the other one I traced until I went through the paper. I used to trace it over and over with thin white paper. Just trace those, that Superman figure, I could do it in my sleep.
Yes, it's Superman, young America's stalwart idol whose astounding exploits are responsible for the unprecedented monthly sale of 800,000 copies of Action Comics magazine and over 1 million of the quarter copies of Superman magazine. Hailed from Maine to California as the hero of the hour, Superman appears in 248 daily and Sunday newspapers, is on the air 3 times a week, has been licensed to manufacturers of dolls, games, play suits, raincoats, jigsaw puzzles, chewing gum, candy, balloons, and a host of other products. And beginning in January 1941, will appear in a series of Paramount animated cartoons to be released monthly in 4,000 motion picture theaters throughout the United States.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound, this amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the Man of Steel, Superman. Empowered with X-ray vision, possessing remarkable physical strength, Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent.
There's an aspect of Superman that does seem to come from the Jewish background of the creators. He is, after all, an illegal immigrant. And he comes from a very foreign place. He is very much a stranger in a strange land. He comes from a planet where everyone is supposed to be super intelligent. He changes his name when he arrives here. He starts on a farm, then he moves to the big city. It's the classic assimilationist or urbanization pattern. And the extremes of Clark and Superman, that Superman is so super, and Clark is so super timid, super sexually ineffectual with Lois Lane. He's a sort of quasi-intellectual. He wears glasses. He's a journalist. In the comic books, it looks like he owned only one blue suit. He's someone who you really look down on, but the secret is we the readers and the creator know, he's really a Superman.
Remember that Superman was created by 2 Jewish boys in Cleveland, Ohio, to whom a hero like Superman, from another planet, from another culture, could achieve. How much more to 2 Jewish boys in Cleveland, Ohio, is that an ideal to strive for? That no matter who you are, whatever you are, even if you're an alien from another planet, you can become a Superman. Seems almost perfect for the creators to be 2 Jewish boys from Cleveland, Ohio. What immediately happened after that was more superheroes were created. They burst like an explosion all over the American market. Batman followed Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Zatra the Magician, and Hawkman, with terrible origins and terrible stories that turn into icons. Captain Marvel, Submariner, all these things, all happened within like 2 years, 3 years of one another, and flooded the marketplace. This was America who had discovered a medium.
Superman!
Superman is sort of a sky god figure. He's the type of character who belongs in the sky. Superman is light. He's the immigrant's dream. He rises from his origins and flies above the city. He's a superhero. In contrast to Batman, who is a much darker figure. Superman and Batman represent sort of two different sides of the psyche. And you can see it. The movie makers caught this. If you see the Superman and Batman films, you can actually, if you see them in the theater, you don't even have to look at the screen. You can turn your back on the screen and just look in the theater. And when there's a Superman film on, the theater is light and bright. It's bright blue sky. His home, his fortress of solitude, is in the Arctic. There's snow. There's crystal. Everything is bright and light. In a Batman film, if you arrive late, you're not going to be able to find a seat. There's hardly any light in the theater. It's very dark. So Superman and Batman are sort of opposite sides of the psyche.
The Bat!
Your angel of death awaits. I want you.
Can't be too careful with all those weirdos around.
Batman is the avenging spirit, someone who's been wronged, who wants to correct something that's happened to his family. And Superman is more of like a Moses character, is sort of a guy that's come to lead us, to a better future. I think those are the characters that rise above a lot. There's so many characters created every year, but those are the ones that rise up, and the ones that have longevity like that are the ones that I think appeal more to speak to, to the human spirit within all of us, I guess.
The artist Bob Kane created Batman when he was only 22 years old. After Batman saw his parents murdered, he declared war on the criminal underworld of Gotham City and quickly became known as the world's greatest detective. Like his predecessor Superman, The Dark Knight was an instant success on his first appearance in number 27 of Detective Comics in May 1939.
That was the only outlet. You think about it for kids in those days. That was comic was the outlet. There was no TV. There was radio, but there was no TV. Movies were expensive. A dime was expensive in those days to go see the movie house. And the comic books were a dime, and they were cheap enough, I guess. So that was the outlet, And every generation needs an outlet, one way or another. And that generation found it in comics.
Among the most original artists producing comics at the time, the duo Joe Simon and Jack Kirby holds a special place. These two shared a studio, and their partnership was to last for nearly 20 years. Together, they created many superheroes, like Sandman and the ultra-famous Captain America in March 1941. Captain America was more than a hero. He was to become a symbol, the incarnation of a whole nation.
In those days, and even today, all through our careers, we would be doing comics and thinking of new comics. Everybody is trying to, just like in the film today, everybody's trying to come up with the next big hit. And you keep trying, and occasionally you'll come up with a winner.
Simon and Kirby was the first great creative team that transcended an individual character. Siegel and Schuster were a great team because of Superman, but Simon and Kirby were a great team because of Simon and Kirby. And there was this belief in the business that they were the guys who could create stars, create hits, and that they were the ones doing the most interesting work wherever they went, from company to company. They were kind of the class act of the comic book business, and the ones everyone looked to for the next trend. And when they worked for Timely Comics, they did Captain America for 10 issues. They left, and then the artists who took over for them spent the next 5 or 6 years imitating